10 famous failures to success stories. Failure occurs on a daily basis, in school, at work, at home, and within families. It is unavoidable and can be irritating and depressing. While the idea of throwing your hands in the air and walking away is alluring, take a moment to connect with those who have been there and survived. Like Mr. Henry Ford said, failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Here are 10 famous failure to success stories from around the world that will motivate you to persevere and achieve greatness. First up is JK Rowling. JK Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, discussed the importance and value of failure during a commencement speech at Harvard. Why? Simply because she, too, was once a failure. Her worst nightmares came true just a few years after she graduated from college. In her own words, "I had failed on a grand scale. My marriage had ended in divorce, and I was jobless, a single parent, and as poor as it is possible to be in modern Britain without being homeless. My parents and my own fears for me had come true, and by any normal standard, I was the biggest failure I knew." The key to her success was coming out of this failure stronger and more determined. Steve Jobs. The now revolutionary Apple was founded by two men in a garage. Years later, it is now a $3 trillion corporation employing about 147,000 people. Despite this, Steve Jobs was fired from the company he founded. The dismissal made him realize that his dedication to his work outweighed the disappointment of failure. Jobs' subsequent ventures, such as Next and Pixar, eventually led to his return to the CEO position at Apple. In 2005, Jobs stated, "I didn't realize it at the time, but getting fired from Apple turned out to be the best thing that could have happened to me." Have you recently lost your job? Keep kicking, and you might end up like this guy. Bill Gates. Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard. He was a co-owner of Trafo Data, which was a complete failure. However, talent and a passion for computer programming transformed this failure into the founder of the well-known software company Microsoft, and the then 31-year-old into the world's youngest self-made billionaire. As he puts it, "It's fine to celebrate success, but it's even more important to learn from failure." This isn't to say that dropping out of Harvard will make you a billionaire, but perhaps that gleaming diploma isn't as valuable as the drive and passion to succeed. Albert Einstein. The name Einstein is synonymous with intelligence and genius. Nonetheless, it is a well-known fact that Albert Einstein, the father of general relativity theory, could not speak fluently until the age of 9. His rebellious nature caused him to be expelled from school, and he was denied admission to the Zurich Polytechnic School. Despite his previous setbacks, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921. After all, he was of the opinion that success is defined as failure in progress. His research has had an impact on many aspects of life, including culture, religion, art, and even late-night television. Just because you haven't accomplished much yet doesn't mean you can't become an Einstein. Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was no stranger to rejection and failure, having failed in business in 1831, suffered a nervous breakdown in 1836, and been defeated in his presidential bid in 1856. Rather than seeing these signs as a reason to give up, he refused to stop trying his hardest. In the words of this great man, "My main concern isn't whether you failed, but whether you're satisfied with your failure." Lincoln was elected the 16th President of the United States of America in 1861. The number of rejections you receive is unimportant. You can still achieve success. Michael Jordan. In my career, I've missed over 9,000 shots. I've lost nearly 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and failed. In my life, I've failed over and over again. That is why I am successful. This quote from retired basketball legend Michael Jordan in a Nike advertisement is self-explanatory. It's easy to believe that Jordan's basketball abilities are based solely on natural talent. In fact, in Jordan's early years, basketball coaches struggled to look past the fact that he didn't reach the minimum height. Years of hard work, practice, and failure resulted in the star we know today. Michael Jordan's success was entirely due to his intrinsic motivation, which is one of the most powerful types of motivation that propels people to success. Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is a well-known household name and is widely regarded as one of the most influential filmmakers of all time. It is therefore surprising to learn that the genius behind Jaws and E.T. had poor grades in high school, which led to his rejection from the University of Southern California 3 times. While still in college, he caught the attention of Universal executives, who hired him as a television director in 1969. This meant he wouldn't be able to finish his college degree for another 33 years. After all, perseverance and acceptance of failure are the keys to success. Even as I get older, what I do never gets old, and I think that's what keeps me hungry. Aside from the fact that he received poor grades in high school, there is no doubt that he is a genius. Spielberg has directed 51 films and received 3 Academy Awards. Walt Disney, creator of Mickey Mouse. Walt Disney dropped out of school at a young age in order to join the army. Due to his inability to run a successful business, one of his earlier ventures, Laugh-O-Gram Studios, went bankrupt. He was once fired from a Missouri newspaper for lack of creativity. Nonetheless, the mind behind Disney Studios is responsible for generations of childhood memories and dreams. Disney will continue to entertain the world for generations to come, from Snow White to Frozen. The reasoning is straightforward. We don't dwell on the past for very long. Because we're curious, we keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things, and our curiosity keeps us on our toes. Vincent Van Gogh. Vincent Van Gogh suffered from mental illness, had failed relationships, and committed suicide at the age of 37. He only sold 1 painting in his entire life, labeling him a failure as an artist. That, however, did not dampen his enthusiasm and passion for art. He had no idea that years after his death, he would be remembered as a pivotal figure in the world of post-impressionism, and ultimately, as one of the greatest artists who ever lived. He had no idea that he had become a hot topic in art classes and that his image would be used in TV, books, and other forms of popular culture. In the words of this great, tragic figure, if a voice within you says, "You cannot paint," then paint anyway, and that voice will be silenced. Stephen King. It's no surprise that Stephen King grew up to be known as the master of horror, as a paranoid, troubled child tormented by nightmares and raised in poverty. His drug and alcohol addictions were coping mechanisms for the unhappiness he felt in his life. The frustration he felt as a result of multiple rejections from publishers, combined with his use of illegal drugs, led him to consider violence against his own children. These intense emotions were the ones he channeled into his writing. That is why he said, "We invent horrors to cope with the real ones." Writing became his new coping mechanism, and it is through this that the master author we know today rose to prominence. To succeed, you must fail more often. Failure, as Albert Einstein once said, is simply success in progress. If you prefer not to fail, you will almost certainly never succeed. Success comes from frustrations that you are most uncomfortable with. But, once you've gone through all of the adversity, you'll be stronger and closer to success. What's your story, and how are you planning on achieving your goals? Let us know down in the comment section, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to comment, "I subscribed," so we can thank you personally.